A pleasant morning to all of you. Good morning, everybody. Esteemed Principal, Kendriya Vidyalaya, PMC Kendriya Vidyalaya Puri, Dr. V.K. Dubesha, respected women Putiyasha, and other officers, and my young leaders, future of our nation. So to begin this event today, may I request the esteemed guest of this great occasion, Dr. V.K. Dubesha, to light the lamp and mark the service.
Honorable members, honorable speaker.
Good morning, everyone. I wholeheartedly welcome the House to the Vidyalaya Level 2024 Youth Parliament session. I hope that every member will maintain the decorum of the House and hope that this session will be fruitful. Today's session will start with the oath taking by the new members. New members to take oath or affirmation. Secretary General, please.
Ms. Abhipsarita Panna was stand elected from Amravati constituency of Andhra Pradesh. Will now take oath or affirmation. Ms. Abhipsarita Panna, please. Madam, would you like to take oath or affirmation?
Oath, please.
In which language would you like to take oath?
In English, please. I, Abhipsa Ritipanna, having been elected as the member of lower house of the Youth Parliament, do swear in the name of God that I will bear true allegiance to the Constitution of India as by laws established, that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India, and that I will faithfully discharge duties upon which I am about to enter.
Mr. Aparama Mishra, who was stand elected from Puri constituency of Odisha, will now take oath or affirmation. Mr. Aparama Mishra, please. Sir, would you like to take oath of affirmation?
Oath, please.
In which language would you like to take oath?
ମୁଁ ଅପ୍ରମ୍ୟା ମିଶ୍ର 2024 ଯୁବ ସଂସଦର ନିମ୍ନ ସଦନକୁ ସଦସ୍ୟ ଭାବରେ ନିର୍ବାଚିତ ହୋଇ ଈଶ୍ୱରଙ୍କ ନାମରେ ଶପଥ ନେଉଛି କି ମୁଁ ପ୍ରତିଷ୍ଠିତ ଆଇନ ଅନୁଯାୟୀ ଭାରତର ସମ୍ବିଧାନ ପ୍ରତି ଅତ୍ୟନ୍ତ ଅନୁଗତ ରହିବି ଏବଂ ଭାରତର ଅଖଣ୍ଡତା ତଥା ସାର୍ବଭୌମତ୍ୱକୁ ବଜାୟ ରଖିବି। ମୁଁ ବିଶ୍ୱସ୍ତ ସଦସ୍ୟ ଭାବରେ ନିରନ୍ତର କର୍ତ୍ତବ୍ୟ ସମ୍ପାଦିତ କରିବି। ଧନ୍ୟବାଦ।
Honorable members of the Youth Parliament session, as we meet today, it is my duty to inform you all about the sad demise of former industrialist and philanthropist Sri Ratan Naval Tata ji. Sri Ratan Tata served as the chairman of Tata Sons and Tata Group from 1991 to 2012. He received Padma Bhushan in 2000, which is the third highest civilian honor in India, followed by the Padma Vibhushan, the second highest civilian honor in India in 2008. He passed away on 9th October 2024 at the age of 86, dying a natural death. He was a true gem of our country, and his absence will truly affect us. I would like to extend my condolences to his near ones.
Honorable Speaker Madam and the members of Youth Parliament session, I would like to pay my respects to late Mr. Ratan Tata, whose sad demise shocked everyone. He was not only my friend, but also a brother to me. He became the chairman of Tata Sons in 1991, and since then, he devoted himself to the poor citizens of the country, both as an industrialist and a social worker. His donation of 1.6 billion to the charity can never be forgotten. He was awarded with Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan, Maharashtra Bhushan for his great work. His death is a huge loss to our country. I express my deep condolences to his family and pray to the Almighty for his soul to rest in peace. Thank you.
आदरणीय अध्यक्ष जी, मैं अपनी श्रद्धांजलि पद्म विभूषण प्राप्त करता श्री रतन नवल टाटा जी को व्यथित हृदय से अर्पित करते हुए परम पिता परमेश्वर जी से प्रार्थना करता हूँ कि उनके दिवंगत आत्मा को शांति प्राप्त हो। रतन जी को साधारणतः प्यार से टाटा टाइटन्स के रूप में जाना जाता था। एक महान उद्योगपति होते हुए भी उन्होंने समाज के लिए बहुत कुछ किया है, जैसे स्वास्थ्य, शिक्षा और ग्रामीण विकास के लिए कई योजनाएं बनाई। साथ में कंपनी के मुनाफे का 65% हिस्सा धर्मराष्ट्रों को दिया। और तो और कोविड-19 जैसी महामारी के दौरान देश को इस संकट से निपटने के लिए 500 करोड़ से भी अधिक रुपयों का दान दिया। उन्होंने लोगों के मदद के लिए कई संस्थानों की स्थापना की, जिसमें से टाटा ट्रस्ट सबसे अधिक लोकप्रिय है, जो उनके अमरता के प्रतीक स्वरूप आज भी प्रकाश स्तंभ है। मैं उनके दिव्यता और महानता के आगे नतमस्तक हूँ। भगवान उनके परिवारजनों को दुख सहन करने की शक्ति दे। जिंदगी को जीने का तरीका बनाओ, जिंदगी को जीने का तरीका बनाओ, मृत्यु को स्वीकार करने का तरीका सीखो, मृत्यु को स्वीकार करने का तरीका सीखो।
The house may stand in silence for a while to express our deep sorrow. Secretary General may convey the message of condolence to the bereaved family.
Yes, madam.
Dear members of the Youth Parliament session, as we meet today, it is my duty to inform you all about two important announcements. I am glad to announce that this year's Paris Olympics and Paralympics saw the Indian athletes achieve great feats of glory. Manu Bhaker, Neeraj Chopra, Aman Sehrawat, the men's hockey team, and many more had bagged medals at the Games. Our athletes bagged a total of 6 medals, which included 1 silver and 5 bronze medals. Also, our para-athletes made history by winning a total of 29 medals, which included 7 gold, 9 silver, and 13 bronze medals. This is the proof of the hard work, dedication, and determination of our athletes. We congratulate our young talented sports persons and hope that they will come up with more success the next time. Another announcement is that, as we all know, the 9th edition of ICC Men's T20 World Cup was co-hosted by the West Indies and the US from 1st to 29th of June 2024. The Indian men's cricket team beat South Africa by 7 runs to make the T20 World Cup trophy ours in the finals. The team, led by Rohit Sharma, bagged the victory from the jaws of defeat. We congratulate the whole team and BCCI for their great achievement. Now, the Prime Minister to introduce the new ministers.
Yes, madam. I have the pleasure to introduce to you and through you to the House the new ministers. Ms. Ankita Ojha, Minister of Road Development. Ms. Sai Shailaja Mishra, Minister of Urban Development. And Mr. Shreya Mishra, Minister of Textiles.
The House may now move to question hour. Now, the question hour starts. Question number 101, Mr. Ronit Raj Rai.
Honorable Speaker, Madam, will the Honorable Minister of Finance be pleased to state that why has the rate of inflation in the country have led 0 to 4% has reached all-time high 7.7%?
Honorable Minister of Finance, please.
Honorable Speaker, Madam, the rate of inflation in the Indian economy is a disease which can be compared to cancer or AIDS to the human body. Inflation reached an all-time government to 7.5% by 2024. But this high position got many fluctuations and a ladder, but it did not decrease below 4.5%. Present instruments of monetary policy reflect that cash reserve ratio of 4.5%, bank rate is 6.5%, and repo rate is 6.75%. Given that excess demand in the economy also results in price rise, the government has also attempted to cut fiscal deficit from 4.5% to 4.1%. In this way, we can control the inflation rate in the economy. Thank you.
Any supplementary question? Yes, Mr. Ronit Raj Rai.
माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, मैं आपके माध्यम से माननीय वर मंत्री से यह पूछना चाहता हूं कि ये जो पेट्रोल और डीजल की 7.5 सरकार ने आम आदमी पर थोपी है, इससे महंगाई का तांडव और भी बढ़ जाएगा। पिछले 3 वर्षों में पेट्रोल और डीजल की कीमत लगभग 16 बार बढ़ाई गई है। और पेट्रोल की कीमत अभी लगभग 103 रुपया होगी। मैं माननीय मंत्री से सिर्फ यही पूछना चाहता हूं कि इस मुद्दे पर सरकार ने क्या ठोस कदम उठाए हैं। धन्यवाद।
माननीय वित्त मंत्री जी।
माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, मैं मानना है कि कभी कभी बीमारी के इलाज के लिए कड़वी दवा भी लेनी पड़ती है। कभी कभी इम्यूनिटी बढ़ाने के लिए दिए गए इंजेक्शन से तेज बुखार भी आता है, पर उसे लाभ भी होता है। मैं विपक्षी साथियों को कई राज्य सरकारों द्वारा जीएसटी में कमी किए जाने की याद दिलाना चाहूंगा। पेट्रोल और डीजल पर राज्य सरकारों की तरफ से 15% से 35% तक कर लगाया जाता है। अतः पेट्रोल और डीजल में वृद्धि का ठिकरा केवल केंद्रीय सत्ता पर फोड़ना ठीक नहीं है। मैं आपको विश्वास दिलाता हूं कि हमारा अर्थव्यवस्था मजबूत है और 9% की विकास दर हासिल करेंगे। धन्यवाद।
Any supplementary question? Yes, Ms. Gatha Gunjan.
Honorable Speaker Madam, through you, I would like to inform the Honorable Minister and the House that the subsidized rate of the food grain pieces has made the agricultural laborers poor and lethargic. Many agricultural lands have been left uncultivated so that the public is facing severe impact of price rise. What is the government preparedness in this regard? Thank you, ma'am.
Honorable Minister of Finance, please.
Honorable Speaker Madam, as the opposition member asked regarding the subsidized food grains, it is essential for the people of below poverty line, because it comes under the scheme of food security to all. So, as far as the subsequent part of the question in relation to the scarcity of agricultural laborer, I have not received such report. I shall look into the matter and let the House in the subsequent session of the Youth Parliament. Thank you.
No more supplementary questions, please. Question number 102, Ms. Satakshi Maji.
Honorable Speaker Madam, will Honorable Minister of Parliamentary Affairs be pleased to state A. Whether the House is concerned about frequent disruptions of the proceedings of the Parliament. B. If so, what steps are being taken to prevent the members from misbehaving in the House and thereby disrupting vital parliamentary proceedings?
Honorable Minister of Parliamentary Affairs, please.
Honorable Speaker Madam, yes, the August House is seriously concerned at such frequent disruptions. The members should bear in mind that they are a part of a great institution and it is their duty to do it proud. There are proposals for invoking some section of rules of the Parliament proceedings, which are rarely Rule 373, for example, says the Speaker may direct any member whose conduct is, in his opinion, grossly disorderly to withdraw immediately from the House and shall absent himself during the remainder of the day's sitting. Similarly, Rule 374A provides for automatic penalty for grave disorder occasioned by a member coming into well or abusing the rules of the House persistently and willfully, obstructing its business by shouting slogans or otherwise.
Any supplementary question? Yes, Ms. Satakshi Maji.
Honorable Speaker Madam, the MPs get rupees 2,000 a day as sitting allowance. Under existing provisions, they get this amount once they sign the daily register. Even on days when proceedings are disrupted, the MPs can sign the register and claim the sum. I want to know why no work, no pay rule is not being enacted to ensure discipline and smooth conduct of the House. Thank you, ma'am.
Honorable Minister of Parliamentary Affairs, please.
Honorable Speaker Madam, the no work, no pay proposal was deliberated last week at a meeting of panel of chairmen, 9 to 10 senior members who preside over the Lok Sabha in the absence of the speaker and the deputy speaker, and received a positive response. It is even suggested that there should be a code for parties, some of whom take decision outside the parliament to disrupt the house. Rule 377 is to be strictly followed, according to which priority will be accorded on immediate discussions on important issues.
Any supplementary question? Yes, Mr. Ayashkant Sahu.
माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, चलनी सूप पर आरोप लगा रही है कि विपक्ष के शोर शराबे से संसद की गरिमा भंग हो रही है, पर अगर वे अतीत के गिरेबान में झांक कर देखें तो उन्हें पता चलेगा कि जब वे विपक्ष में थे तब उन्होंने शोर शराबा किया था, यहाँ तक कि ध्वनि विस्तारक यंत्र भी तोड़ दिए थे। कबीरदास ने ठीक ही कहा है, दोष पराया देखी कर चला हसन हसन, अपो याद न आवही जाकर आदि न अंत। धन्यवाद।
माननीय संसदीय मामले मंत्री जी।
माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, संविधान की धारा 374 क के अनुसार संसद की गरिमा भंग करने वाला व्यक्ति सत्ता पक्ष का हो या विपक्ष का निलंबित किया जा सकता है। शोर शराबों से दोनों ही पक्षों को बचना चाहिए। बीती ताही विसार दे, आगे की सुध ले।
No more supplementary questions, please. Question number 103. Ms. Bhumishri Behera.
Honorable Speaker Madam, will the Minister of Information and Technology be pleased to state A. What is the government doing to stop growing incidents of cybercrime, especially phishing, which has ruined the lives of gullible people? How can this problem be crushed? B. Has government framed any guidances for this? If yes, then has government taken bank executives into confidence? Do they have any role in it? C. Growing consumerism has led to a boom in e-commerce. Due to these, online transactions has increased manifold. What is the government doing to make secure these online transactions?
Honorable Minister of Information Technology, please.
Honorable Speaker Madam, our government has constituted a committee of eminent cyber security professionals. The committee is working on developing a consensus among different public and private sector banks to frame broad guidelines to prevent such crimes. B. Yes, the committee has sent a performer to all the banks for the ways and means needed to fight cybercrime. C. Yes, member has rightly pointed out that e-commerce is growing rapidly. But this is good for consumers as there are so many offers due to competition. But at the same time, government is also aware about the fraudulent practice involved in it. The government is also going to amend Consumer Right Protection Act 1986 as per the need of present scenario.
Any supplementary question? Yes, Ms. Bhumishri Behera.
Speaker Madam, A. Are the police well equipped to investigate the incidents of cybercrime? B. Has government organized any training programs for the police personnel for the purpose? Thank you, ma'am.
Honorable Minister of Information Technology, please.
Speaker Madam, the Honorable Prime Minister, in her interaction with the top branch of police force, has instructed that adequate training should be given for this purpose. Central government is also extending a grant of rupees 500 crore for the training and purchasing of equipments needed to fight cybercrime. We are also providing them with specialists to deal with this problem.
No more supplementary questions, please. Question number 104. Ms. Hanshini Hiranmay.
Honorable Speaker, Madam, will the Minister of Tourism be pleased to state A. Whether the government is aware to the crimes against the foreign tourists such as harassment and assaults that would hurt them and defame our country at international level. B. If so, what other steps the government is proposing to take in this regard to give protection to them? Thank you, ma'am.
Honorable Minister of Tourism, please.
Honorable Speaker, ma'am, there has been some incidents with foreigners which are unfortunate and not good for the country, as it will hamper the growth of tourists. Our government is committed to safety and security of foreign tourists. It is made mandatory for all the foreign visitors who want to explore rural and tribal areas must inform the nearby police station in that area about their visit.
Any supplementary question? Yes, Ms. Hansini Hiranmai.
Honorable Speaker, Madam, what other measures has planned to take up to encourage tourism? Thank you, ma'am.
Honorable Minister of Tourism, please.
Honorable Speaker, ma'am, the growth of foreign tourism is crucial for our economic growth, as it contributes 6.8% to the GDP and it has capacity to generate more employment. The government has also planned to increase proper air connectivity, provide easy visa services, affordable hotels, clean environment, and establish Hotel Management Institute for encouraging tourism. Every year, a large number of foreign tourists across the world and from every nook and corner visit to spend their holidays. Recently, India is emerging as an important hub of medical tourism.
Any supplementary question? Yes, Ms. Gayatri Parida.
Honorable Speaker, ma'am, through you, I want to ask the question to Minister of Tourism that how many foreigners visited India last year and how much foreign exchange was earned by the government? Thank you.
Honorable Minister of Tourism, please.
Honorable Speaker, ma'am, 37.32 lakh foreigners visited India last year and India earned rupees 94,487 crores as foreign exchange.
No more supplementary questions, please. Question number 105. Ms. Rajalakshmi Pandey.
माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, जब हम कहते हैं खेलेगा भारत तो खिलेगा भारत, मैं खेल मंत्री जी से पूछना चाहती हूं कि क्या सरकार देश में खेल के लिए बुनियादी ढांचा विकसित करने में सफल रही है, और यदि हाँ तो इस संबंध में क्या कदम प्रस्तुत किए गए हैं? क्या सरकार देश में खेल अवसंरचना सुविधाओं के विकास के लिए विभिन्न योजनाएं क्रियान्वित कर रही है, और यदि हाँ तो तत्संबंधी ब्यौरा क्या है?
माननीय युवा मामले तथा खेल मंत्री जी।
माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, खेल राज्य का विषय होने के कारण खेल आधारित संरचना के विकास सहित खेलों के विकास की जिम्मेदारी मुख्य रूप से राज्य एवं संघ शासित प्रदेश सरकारों की है। संघ सरकार इसमें पूरी तरीके से सहयोग करती है। हालांकि खेलो इंडिया योजना खेल आधारित संरचना के निर्माण और यूनियन घटक के तहत मंत्रालय ने कई खेल परिसर, सिंथेटिक एथलेटिक ट्रैक, सिंथेटिक हॉकी मैदान, बहुउद्देशीय हॉल, स्विमिंग पूल आदि जैसे खेल अवसंरचना के निर्माण के लिए आर्थिक सहायता प्रदान करता है।
Any supplementary question? Yes, Ms. Rajalakshmi Pandey.
अध्यक्ष महोदय, देश में विश्व स्तरीय खेल अवसंरचना विकसित करने के लिए सरकार द्वारा उठाए गए अन्य कदमों का ब्यौरा क्या है?
माननीय खेल तथा युवा मामले मंत्री जी।
माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, सरकार ने देश भर के खिलाड़ियों के लिए पर्याप्त खेल अवसंरचना और विश्व स्तरीय प्रशिक्षण विकसित किया है। यह खेलो इंडिया योजना
राष्ट्रीय खेल महासंघों को सहायता भी करता है। NSTF और राष्ट्रीय खेल प्राधिकरण प्रोत्साहन योजनाओं के माध्यम से यह हासिल किया गया है।
Any supplementary question? Yes, Miss Gayatri Priyadarshini.
गांधी जी कहते थे कि भारत की आत्मा गांव में बसती है, तो क्या युवा मामले एवं खेल मंत्री यह बताने की कृपा करेंगे कि क्या सरकार ने ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों की खिलाड़ियों की प्रतिभा को निखारने, विशेष रूप से उन्हें उत्कृष्ट खिलाड़ी बनाने के लिए कोई उपाय किए हैं? यदि हाँ, तो तत्संबंधी ब्यौरा क्या है? ख, नए उभरते खिलाड़ियों और अन्य खेल प्रतिभाओं को निखारने के लिए सरकार के द्वारा क्या प्रयास किए जाने की संभावना है?
माननीय युवा मामले तथा खेल मंत्री जी।
माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदया, ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों के खिलाड़ियों की प्रतिभाओं को उभारने के लिए और खास तौर पर उन्हें बेहतरीन खिलाड़ी बनाने के लिए मंत्रालय ने कई रेस ट्रैक और संबंधित बुनियादी ढांचे का निर्माण किया है। खेलों के विकास की जिम्मेदारी मुख्य रूप से राज्य एवं केंद्र शासित प्रदेश सरकारों की है। और जब बात नए और उभरते हुए खिलाड़ियों पर आती है, तो नए और उभरते हुए एथलीटों और अन्य खेल प्रतिभाओं को बढ़ावा देने के लिए मंत्रालय ने कई पहल बनाई हैं। इसमें से एक पहल है खेलो इंडिया राइजिंग टैलेंट आइडेंटिफिकेशन, जिसका उद्देश्य है वैज्ञानिक परीक्षण विधियों के माध्यम से 9 से 18 वर्ष की आयु के प्रतिभाशाली व्यक्तियों की पहचान कराना।
No more supplementary questions, please. Now, the question hour session is over.
Honorable Speaker, Madam, a serious breach of privilege has been committed by a leading newspaper, Hindustan News, New Delhi, while commenting on the recommendations of the Public Account Committee. The paper has attributed dishonest motives, and I request you to allow me to raise a question on that matter now.
Miss Zoya, have you given a notice of it earlier?
Yes, Honorable Speaker, Madam, I have already given a notice of it at 11 a.m. today.
It will be examined as and when it comes to me. I shall consider it and let you know my decision. Now, papers to be led. Honorable Minister of Food and Agriculture, please.
Madam, I beg to lay on the table a copy of the following papers under subsection 1 of section 619A of the Companies Act 1956. First, review by the government on the working of the Food Corporation of India Limited for the year 2006 and 7. Second, annual report of the State Farm Corporation of India Limited, New Delhi for the year 2006 and 7, along with the audited accounts and the comments of the Comptroller and the Auditor General thereupon. Thank you.
Secretary General to report the message from the upper chamber of the Vidyalaya level Youth Parliament. Sir, I have to report following messages received from the Secretary General of the upper chamber of Vidyalaya level Youth Parliament. I have to report 3 messages received from the Secretary General of upper chamber. The no recommendation to make to lower house in regards to Appropriation Bill 2024. The upper chamber has no recommendation to make to lower house in regards to Jammu Kashmir appropriation. The upper chamber has no recommendation to make to lower house in regards to Finance Bill 2024. Secretary General to lay on the table a copy of the bill as passed by the upper chamber. Sir, I beg to lay on the table a copy of the no recommendation Appropriation Bill 2024 as recommended by the upper chamber. Honorable members, I have to make an important announcement. On my own behalf, on behalf of the honorable members of the House, I have great pleasure in extending our warm welcome to Her Excellency, Ms. Ananya Arosrita, Speaker of Nepalese Parliament, and the other honorable members of the delegation who are on a visit to India as our honored guests. The other honorable members of the delegation are Pratiksha Pradhan, Deputy Speaker of Nepalese Parliament, and Sonakshi Pradhan, the Secretary General of Nepalese Parliament. The delegation arrived on 7th January 2025. Now they are seated in a special box. We wish them a happy and fruitful stay in our country. We also convey our warm greetings and best wishes through them to the Prime Minister, the Parliament, the Government and the friendly people of Nepal. Now let us take up the calling attention motion. Ms. Shivangi Sarangi, please call the attention of the ministers.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, sir, I beg to call the attention of the Honorable Home Minister for taking up the discussion with regard to the situation arising out of the devastating flood which lasted Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Odisha, Assam and Jammu and Kashmir, bringing out the nationwide death toll to more than 1,000 and the action taken by the government in this regard.
Honorable Home Minister, please.
Honorable Speaker, relief and rescue operations are going on war footing basis. Our government has left no stone unturned in mitigating the problems of flood-affected people. Control rooms have been set up to check flood fury. Over 10,000 people of Maharashtra have been shifted to safer places after the Godavari crossed the danger mark at several places in the district. The Jammu and Kashmir machinery has been put on high alert to tackle any eventuality with rivers in the Kashmir Valley flowing close to the danger mark. With flood situation, the army has stepped up rescue efforts, evacuating 500 people. The pilgrimage was suspended as incessant rains triggered 2 massive landslides on the Yatra route. Army has been deployed to expedite relief and rescue operations, and 282 power boats have been used. Packets of food, milk, boiled water and halogen tablets have been dropped from helicopters. The center has given 15 crore rupees to Maharashtra, 18 crores to Andhra Pradesh, 16 crores to Odisha, 10 crores to each to Gujarat and Rajasthan, 15 crores to Maharashtra, 16 crores to West Bengal and 10 crores to Jammu and Kashmir.
Ms. Shivangi Sarangi, please.
Honorable Speaker, ma'am, really I have to thank the Home Minister for giving me an opportunity to call the attention of the Honorable Home Minister for taking up the discussion with regard to the situation arising out of the devastating flood which at a time when my own state Odisha has been tremendously affected by flood which rendered lakhs of people homeless, destitute, starved, ill-clothed and diseased. Honorable Speaker, Madam, as per the white paper issued by the Government of Assam, 15,95,468 people have been affected by flood in the districts of Baleswar, Mayurbhanj, Bhadrak, Jajpur, Gajapati, Rayagada and Malkangiri. 15,783 hectares of cultivated land has been devastated and communication has been seriously disturbed. Most affected district is Malkangiri. Honorable Minister said that 1.5 billion, 15 crore rupees has been sanctioned for Odisha. Only 15 crore rupees has been sanctioned for whole state of Odisha as per the white paper issued by the government. To more than 1 lakh people have been affected per head. Financial assistance is less than 1 crore or 15 lakh is rupees 150. On the other hand, there is a step price.
that is rupees 190 kg per rice, rupees 130 kg per potato and rupees 120 kg per brinjal. Such a dangerous flood has been occupied in Malkangiri during last 50 years.
Mr. Pratyush Rahul, please.
Honorable Speaker Madam, as all we know, the tribal district of Malkanagiri is the most Naxalite prone district due to its lack of developmental works. The tribal people are helping the Naxalites. If they are not provided adequate help, the Naxalite activity will be in full swing right. During her recent visit to Odisha, Honorable Prime Minister has given assurance to sanction rupees 200 crore to the flood affected people, but it is just like waiting after the child is dead. Let us not wait over the death of Odisha and give them relief as early as possible. Thank you.
Mr. Ashutosh Rath, please.
आदरणीय महोदय, सूती, धुलियास और फरक्का के कुछ भाग जो मुर्शिदाबाद में हैं, झारखंड के बंसाली और पागला नदियों की चपेट में हैं। कांडी में नलग्राम और हिजोल, भरतपुर में सीसग्राम और बरवाल गंभीर रूप से बाढ़ प्रभावित हैं। मैं माननीय मंत्री महोदय से कुछ आधारभूत प्रश्न पूछना चाहूंगा। वे हैं का मालदा प्रशासन बाढ़ नियंत्रण कक्ष क्यों नहीं खोला जा रहा है? ख बाढ़ निहित बचाव कार्यों के लिए अधिकाधिक नौकाएं क्यों नहीं भेजी जा रही हैं? धन्यवाद।
मिस स्वस्तिका प्रियदर्शनी, प्लीज।
आती है कहीं पर बाढ़, मरते हैं हजारों, ये कहाँ का इंसाफ? माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदया, मुंबई में जो बाढ़ आई है उसमें हजारों व्यक्ति मारे गए। हमारी अजंता चित्रकला जो दूसरी शताब्दी में बनाई गई थी उसे भी बाढ़ ने नष्ट कर दिया है। विडंबना यह कि मेरे अपने राज्य ओडिशा की हालत भी ठीक नहीं है। हजारों व्यक्ति मारे गए हैं, लाखों एकड़ जमीन बर्बाद हो गई है। यहाँ गृह मंत्री महोदय कहते हैं कि उन्होंने हमें 15 करोड़ रुपए दिए हैं। यह तो उनके मुंह में जीरा और हाथी को होम्योपैथिक गोलियां हैं। इतना ही नहीं, जो पैसा मिला है वो बीच में ही गायब हो जाता है, जनता तक पहुंचता ही नहीं। क्या गृह मंत्री के पास इसका जवाब है? यह सरकार सोई हुई सरकार है, सोई हुई। मेरा तो यह कहना है, कहीं दूध के बिना रोती मानव की संतान, कहीं खीर की मटकी खाली करते खान, कोई घी में जहाँ रहा तो किसी को रोटी नहीं मिलती। हमारे समाज की यही दशा है। धन्यवाद।
Honorable Minister of Home Affairs, please.
Honorable Speaker Madam, I have listened carefully the points raised by the honorable members of the House on devastating flood causing colossal damages to the lives and properties of lakhs of people of Odisha, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Rajasthan, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh, Assam, and Jammu and Kashmir. I have due concern for the hardships being faced by these flood-affected people. It has always been the endeavor of the government to help the states in mitigating their sufferings. My friends from Odisha, West Bengal, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Andhra Pradesh, Assam, and Jammu and Kashmir have made points in sanctioning more money, relief, rescue oats, food, and clothing to their flood-affected people. I may submit that I have put in maximum efforts to provide all these requirements to all the affected states. As regards, Honorable Prime Minister visited the flood-affected areas and sanctioned 15 crore rupees more for the flood-affected areas. To the point raised by Ms. Swastika Priyadarshini, I may like to submit that our Honorable Defence Minister will inspect the erosion of the banks of Bhagirathi on Monday the 25th instantly, and we will send a master plan for Kandi to the Niti Aayog.
This government is sleeping. We don't want lecture.
Ms. Rupali,
We
please
want
sit
reply
down.
from Honorable Prime Minister. We want reply.
Please, Ms. Rupali, sit down. Members, please maintain the decorum. Now, Honorable Prime Minister, please.
Madam, as I have already mentioned, that control of flood and mitigation of the sufferings of the flood-affected people is a joint effort of center and states for its success. The help and cooperation of the states is utmost necessary. I, therefore, urge upon all the flood-affected states to kindly extend their cooperation to enable us to meet the situation arising out of the devastating flood. Thank you, ma'am.
Bill to be introduced. Honorable Minister of Labour and Employment to introduce the bill.
Speaker Madam, I beg to move for leave to introduce the bill.
Now, the question is that leave be granted to introduce the bill to amend the Employees Provident Act 1952. Those who are in favor will please say aye. Those who are against it will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Leave is granted.
Speaker Madam, I introduce the bill.
Now, the House will take up consideration of the Central Educational Institutions Reservation in Admission Bill 2024. Honorable Minister of Education, please.
Honorable Speaker Madam, I beg to move Reservation in Admission Bill 2025. 10% seat reservation for EWS in Central Educational Institution be taken into consideration. Madam, the House is well aware of the fact that independent India in 1947 inherited an equal society. Therefore, Article 15 in the Constitution was inserted in 1951 for enabling the state to make special provisions for the advancement of socially and educationally backward classes, including EWS. Salient features of some of the important provisions of the bill are as follows. First, the bill is to be made operational from the academic year 2024. Second, it provides for a mandatory increase of seat in central educational institution which would be attained over a maximum period of 3 years beginning with the academic year 2025. Third, the bill is applicable to central universities, IITs and IMS and certain other institutions that are established, maintained or aided by the central government. Fourth, the pursuance of new Amendment 15 to Article 15 envisages 10% seat reservation for EWS in central educational institutions, beside 15% for SC, 7% for ST, and 27% for OBC. Fifth, as many as 8 institutions of excellence, including Homi Bhabha National Institute and its constituent unit like BARC and TIFR and Jawaharlal Nehru Center for Advanced Scientific Research, are excluded from the quota preview. Sixth, the other institutions that are excluded from the quota preview are the Northeastern Indira Gandhi Health and Medical Science Ceylon, National Brain Research Center Manesar, Physical Research Lab Ahmedabad, Space Physics Lab Thiruvananthapuram, and Indian Institute of Remote Sensing. Seventh, the provisions of the bill will not apply to minority educational institutions. Honorable Speaker Madam, I am confident that all the honorable members of this House, irrespective of their will welcome the bill wholeheartedly, and through it we can help EWS in seeking such as IITs, IMS, etc. With this work, I now move at the Central Educational Institution Reservation and Admission Bill for EWS 2024 be taken into consideration.
Motion move that the Central Educational Institutions Reservation in Admission Bill 2024 to provide 10% reservation for EWS in Central Educational Institutions be taken into consideration. Ms. Vaishnavi Sahu, please.
माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, संविधान की धारा 46 बताती है कि समाज के कमजोर वर्गों की शैक्षणिक आर्थिक उन्नति के लिए राज्य विशेष ध्यान दे। मैं केंद्रीय शिक्षण संस्थानों में पिछड़ी जातियों के 275 आरक्षणों के 93 संशोधन के कमजोर वर्गों एवं मुस्लिमों के पक्ष में बोलने के लिए प्रस्तुत हूँ। अभी हाल में ही NSSO ने यह बयान किया है कि पिछड़ी जातियां देश की कुल जनसंख्या में 495 है, जिसकी 6.5 की उच्च वृद्धि दर्ज दी गई है। जांच करने पर यह व्यक्त किया गया है कि पिछड़ी जातियों की संख्या ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में 435 एवं शहरी इलाकों में 335 1999-2000 साल से 2022-23 तक 499 तक बढ़ गई है। 275 आरक्षण उनके लिए बिल्कुल उचित है। यह आरक्षण मुस्लिमों के लिए भी लागू होना चाहिए, जैसा कि श्रीमान वीरप्पा मोइली, जो प्रशासनिक सुधार कमीशन के अध्यक्ष थे, ने कहा था, मुस्लिमों के लिए आरक्षण होना हमारे संविधान का एक अंग होना चाहिए। डॉक्टर BR अम्बेडकर ने लिखित धारा 217 के अनुसार इस बात का पक्ष दिया था कि मुस्लिमों एवं अल्पसंख्यकों के लिए आरक्षण का फायदा होना चाहिए। गैर सरकारी संस्थानों में भी यही आरक्षण होना चाहिए। धन्यवाद।
Miss Adyasha Nayak, please.
Honorable Speaker Madam, I oppose this bill Article 46, which my honorable predecessor Ms. Vaishnavi referred pertains to directive principles of state policy. But Article 15, which relates to the fundamental rights, says the states shall not discriminate against any citizen on grounds only of religion, race, caste, sex, color, place of birth, or any of them. Hence, the Indian Constitution doesn't say that the government has to preserve a quota for backward classes based on caste. In State of Madras versus Champagam, 195/SCR, 525 AIR, 195/SC, 226. The High Court that the communal reservation then prevalent in Tamil Nadu was Constitution, but Supreme Court overruled the Madras High Court as the Constitution did not support this particular provision. Therefore, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru himself brought forward the first Constitution amendment that gave a new impetus for oppressed community with a special explanation in Article 15 as the new Clause 4. Thank you.
Miss Sunipa Behra, please.
Honorable Speaker Ma'am, for vote bank, this government has brought a new amendment by adding clause 5 to the Article 15. It must be enabling to make a special provision for EWS. Secondly, it must be noted that Indian Constitution allowed the government to enforce reservation for SC or ST for a period of 10 years. But the government are using this provision to rein convenience. Our Constitution mandates equal opportunity to every individual citizen under Article 29. It was a noble objective that reservation could ensure the lowest strata of the society which move up to the optimum level of the competition with other castes, classes and join the mainstream as political, social and economical realities of 1950, which were completely different from the ones that existed up to the previous year. Thank you.
Miss Stuti Das, please.
Honorable Speaker Madam, the present government has turned reservation into privilege. For example, in Kerala, Creamy Lair, in reference to backward community families with an annual income of rupees 2.5 lakhs do not qualify for the quota. But in neighboring Tamil Nadu, 30% of the quotas are used by these creamy layer classes. In 1951, here was no existence of creamy layer classes. Now, people claim backward community benefits by using fake certificates. Tamil Nadu, 69% of the quotas are effectively driven the former community out of state. But the former UN information consultant, Sri S.R. Madhu, said, Brahmins of Tamil Nadu are like Jews of Germany. They're not being physically liquidated, but they're being suffocated and squeezed educationally. Honorable Speaker Madam, I want to draw your kind attention to the Times of India dated August 25, 2006, that the Brahmins in Odisha moved supreme for quota and the president of Nikhil Utkal Brahmins Mahasabha, Mr. Nirusingha Mishra said, "We don't understand why there should be a quota for rich OBC students and not for poor Brahmins. A student who secured less than 50% got admission to the government medical college, whereas a student who secured 90% could not get admission to the government medical college. Merit was discarded."
Ms. Soyansa Gautami, please.
Respected Speaker Madam, the 10% reservation for economical weaker section EWS in education institution is intended to address inequality and opportunities to people who are economically disadvantaged. Further, such reservation will not only help addressing inequality in education and income, also help recognizing the poor of the country. Additionally, it will also help reducing the caste-based discrimination. As we know, such discrimination are the hindrance for peace and harmony of the society. Speaker Madam, keeping that points in my mind, I strongly show my concern in favor of 10%
Ms. Adyasha Priyadarshini, please.
Honorable Speaker Madam, I don't think that one is born with merit. It is created by situations, and our constitution allows the government to take measures to provide for socially and educationally backward classes. Under Article 15A, 46 and 340. And if we have EWS amounting up to 50% of the population, a reservation like this is justified. To assume that the quality of institutions will be affected is presume that everyone else in India is dumb. I want to raise the following questions. Where only upper caste is intellect, where Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, late K.R. Narayana and Gyani Jail Singh, who belongs to lower castes, not intellectuals, I urge upon Honorable Education Minister to extend this quota for EWS to unaided private educational institutions, same as it is being extended to SCs, STs and OBCs.
Now, leader of opposition will give their statement.
Honorable Speaker Madam, reservation issue needs to be renewed in proper perspective, keeping in view the stress led by the 5 judge bench of the Supreme Court, headed by the Chief Justice on Article 16 of the Constitution and elimination of criminal. Article 16(1) says that shall be equality of opportunity for all citizens in matters of employment and appointment to any office under the state. Article 16(2) says no citizen shall be ineligible for or indiscriminate against only on the grounds of caste, sex, creed or place of birth in matters of employment to any office under the state. Respected Speaker Madam, the Mandal Commission recommendation is for 27% OBCs, which is not justified, as the figure of 41% OBC population is furnished by National Sample Survey Organization (NSSO), is far than 52% quoted by the Commission report. The apex count said that while providing reservations, the state must ensure the factors mentioned in Article 16(4), read Article 335, are taken care of as regards. As the issue of reservation for minorities raised by Ms. Vaishnavi, especially Muslims, I mean to say that after half-century reservations, SCs and STs, they have remained backwards. Muslims are already benefited from reservation, as it is estimated that 50% of them belong to OBC category. Many institutions like CII and FCII have rejected Honorable Prime Minister's proposal about the voluntary caste quota, and argued that the affirmative could be better served by proper placement and vetting of SCs, STs and OBCs. Thank you.
Now, the Honorable Prime Minister will give their statement.
माननीय अध्यक्षा जी, मैं आज इस अवसर पर विपक्ष के नेता द्वारा केंद्रीय शैक्षिक संस्थान प्रवेश में आरक्षण विधेयक 2024 पर उठाए गए सवालों का जवाब देने के लिए खड़ी हुई हूँ। सर्वप्रथम, यह संख्याओं की नहीं बल्कि न्याय की बात है। यह एकता और समानता की बात है। मैं विपक्षी नेता से यह सहमत नहीं हूँ कि CII एवं FICCI पिछड़े वर्गों को नौकरी नहीं देते। अभी के CII के प्रेसिडेंट के अनुसार 55% से भी ज्यादा कर्मचारी पिछड़े वर्गों से है। उसी प्रकार बजाज ऑटो के अध्यक्ष ने ये कहा है कि उनकी कंपनी में 30% कर्मचारी पिछड़े वर्गों से आते हैं। मैं आप सभी को ये भरोसा दिलाती हूँ कि मेरिट के साथ समझौता नहीं होगा। अंत में मैं माननीय सदस्यों से ये आशा करती हूँ कि वे सभी इस विधेयक का मन से समर्थन करें ताकि हम आर्थिक स्तर पर पिछड़े लोगों को एक आगे बढ़ने का अवसर दे सके। धन्यवाद।
Honorable Minister of Education, please.
Honorable Speaker Madam, I am grateful to all those members who have supported the bill. I am also grateful to those members who have given their constructive criticism on it. As Honorable Prime Minister said about this, merit will not be discarded. We have to choose between two models, one by Mr. Yogendra Yadav of CDs and Satish Deshpande of Delhi School of Economics and the other by the Purushottam of JNU. Yadav and Deshpande model combine merit point with disadvantage point. Convert marks in the entrance exam to a maximum of 80 points and the remaining 20 points would be the disadvantage point. According to Purushottam Agrawal's models, marks for entrance exam, interview and academic performance will account for 70 points and the remaining 30 points will under caste and tribe. 5 points for all SC/STs, 4 points for MBCs, 2 points for OBCs, 6 points for economic status and 5 points for women irrespective of scope for any other index. There can be points in reasons, studies in various schools, points if one or both parents are illiterate.
Now, the question is, Clause 2 to 11 stand part of the bill. There is one amendment in Clause 5 by Ms. Adyasha Nayak. Madam, are you moving it?
No, madam. In view of the reply given by the Honorable Minister, I am not pressing my amendment.
Now, the question is that Clause 2 to 11 stand part of the bill. Those who are in favor will please say aye. Aye. Those who are against it will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Motion is adopted. Honorable Education Minister, please.
Madam, I move that the bill be passed.
Motion moved that the bill be passed. Those who are in favor will please say aye. Aye. Those who are against it will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, and the ayes have it. The motion is adopted. Now, the House is adjourned to meet again tomorrow at 11 a.m.
एनेक्सी है, वहीं पर इसका आयोजन किया है। उसके लिए बच्चों आपको और बेहतर जो है प्रिपरेशन की जरूरत है। जो यूथ पार्लियामेंट का मेन उद्देश्य है कि आपको जो लेजिस्लेटिव प्रोसेस है जो विधायी प्रक्रिया है उसके बारे में जानकारी हो, कैसे हम शपथ लेते हैं, कैसे हम बिल मूव करते हैं, कैसे बिल पर चर्चा की जाती है और कैसे संविधान में संशोधन किया जाता है। यह सब यूथ पार्लियामेंट का एक अभिन्न हिस्सा है और अभी से यह प्रिपरेशन कराई जाती है जिससे कि आप इस विधायी प्रक्रिया से रूबरू हो सकें, समझ सकें कि हमारे संसद में क्या होता है। और आप लोगों ने देखा होगा कि हमारे 2 डेडिकेटेड चैनल्स हैं टेलीविजन, लोकसभा टीवी और राज्यसभा टीवी, जिसमें उसका लाइव टेलीकास्ट भी होता है जो भी हमारी कार्यवाही संसद में होती है। इसके अलावा भी उसमें जब संसद हमारे संचालन में नहीं होती तो भी उसमें बहुत सारे ऐसे प्रोग्राम हैं जो टेलीकास्ट होते हैं जो हमारे समझ को, राजनीतिक समझ को ज़्यादा विकसित करते हैं। तो वह भी जब आपको मौका मिले ज़रूर देखिए। और मुझे उम्मीद है कि जब मुझे लग रहा है इस साल हमारे विद्यालय को चुना जाएगा क्लस्टर लेवल पर या रीजनल लेवल पर इनवाइट होंगे हम, तो वहाँ जब हम जाएंगे तो और अच्छे से हम अपना जो है पक्ष प्रस्तुत करेंगे। और मुझे विश्वास है कि हमारे विद्यालय के बच्चे जरूर नेशनल लेवल पर अपनी जो है उपस्थिति दर्ज कराएंगे और वहाँ हमारे जो लोकसभा के स्पीकर हैं, क्योंकि उन्हीं के दिशा निर्देशन में ये संचालित किया जाता है, तो वहाँ पर जाकर के जरूर हम दिल्ली भी घूमेंगे और बाकी जो हमारे पार्लियामेंटेरियंस हैं उनसे भी हम मिलेंगे और इसी बहाने हम संसद भी घूमने का मौका पाएंगे। तो वेल डन, ऑल द बेस्ट फॉर योर फ्यूचर।